What if the computer of the future wasn't made from silicon at all? What if it was made from DNA, from living cells, from molecules so small a virus would look enormous next to them? That sounds like science fiction. It isn't. For decades, silicon chips got smaller and faster, almost like magic. But that magic is fading. Engineers are now building transistors so tiny they're only a few atoms wide. Squeeze them any smaller, and strange quantum effects start leaking through, causing errors nobody wants. So scientists asked a wild question. What if we stopped shrinking silicon and started borrowing ideas from nature instead? That search leads us to something you'd never expect: DNA computing. DNA is the molecule that stores the instructions for your entire body. But it turns out DNA is also brilliant at storing something else: data. Think of DNA like the world's tiniest hard drive, except instead of ones and zeros, it stores information using 4 letters, like a secret code written in chemistry. Scientists mix specially designed DNA strands in a test tube and let chemical reactions solve problems for them. Instead of one processor working through steps one at a time, trillions of DNA strands react simultaneously, testing possibilities all at once. Today, DNA is already being used to archive enormous amounts of data. A single gram of DNA could theoretically store the entire internet. The biggest challenge? Reading and writing DNA is still painfully slow and expensive compared to today's chips. So why does this matter? Long-term data storage and problems with billions of possible answers could one day be solved by mixing chemicals in a lab instead of running server farms for days. But DNA isn't even the strangest computer scientists are building. Let's shrink things down even further, to molecular computing. Imagine an army of microscopic workers, each one a single molecule, each one capable of a tiny task. Alone, one molecule can't do much. But put trillions of them together, and they can solve problems as a team, all at the exact same moment. That's molecular computing in a nutshell. Certain molecules can be designed to react, bond, or change shape based on specific conditions, essentially performing calculations through chemistry itself. Because there are so many molecules working together at once, some problems that would take a normal computer years could theoretically be solved in a single chemical reaction. So why does this matter? Faster drug discovery, better material science, and chemical problem solving on a scale computers simply can't match today. It gets even crazier. What if the computer wasn't a machine at all? What if it was alive? That's biological computing. Living cells are already incredible information processors. They sense their environment, communicate with neighboring cells, and make decisions constantly just to keep you alive. Scientists in a field called synthetic biology are learning to reprogram cells, almost like rewriting their internal software. Imagine teaching a single cell new rules to follow, the same way you'd program an app. Researchers have already engineered bacteria that can detect toxins and cells that respond to specific chemical signals like tiny biological sensors. So why does this matter? Imagine implants that sense disease before symptoms appear, or engineered cells that manufacture medicine directly inside your body. Now let's slow down and get a little strange in a different way. This next idea doesn't use chemistry. It uses something spinning inside every atom. Welcome to Spintronic Computing. Electrons, the tiny particles that carry electricity, don't just carry charge, they also spin, kind of like a spinning top, either one way or the other. Normal computers only pay attention to electric charge. Spintronic computers pay attention to that spin instead. Think of it like sending messages using the direction a coin lands instead of the ink written on it. Because spin can be flipped without moving electrons very far, spintronic devices use dramatically less energy than traditional circuits. So why does this matter? Longer battery life, cooler running chips, and computer memory that keeps information even when the power shuts off completely. Speaking of memory, ordinary computers have a strange design flaw hiding in plain sight. Here's the problem. Every computer you've ever used keeps memory and processing completely separate. Picture yourself cooking dinner, but the ingredients are kept in a fridge down the street. Every single time you need an onion, you have to walk there and back. That's exactly what your computer does, millions of times per second, shuttling data between memory and the processor. Engineers even have a name for this frustrating limitation: the von Neumann bottleneck. Memristors offer one clever fix. A memristor is a component that remembers how much electrical current has passed through it, even after the power turns off. It behaves almost like a tiny synapse in your brain, strengthening a connection the more it's used. This lets a single component store information and process it simultaneously instead of constantly shipping data back and forth. So why does this matter? Chips that could genuinely learn from experience the way biological brains do, right at the hardware level. But there's another way to solve the same fridge problem entirely. Instead of building a component that remembers, why not move the whole kitchen inside the fridge? That's in-memory computing. Rather than shuttling data back and forth between memory and processor, calculations happen directly inside the memory itself. No more walking down the street for onions. The ingredients and the cooking happen in the very same room. For tasks involving massive amounts of data, like real-time analytics or scientific simulations, this can be dramatically faster than traditional designs. So why does this matter? Instant results for huge data sets, faster AI training, and real-time decisions for things like climate modeling and medical research. Look at everything we've covered. DNA that stores data in chemistry, molecules that compute as a team, living cells reprogrammed like software, electron spin replacing electric charge, memory that remembers like a brain, and computing that happens right where information lives. None of these technologies are trying to replace the computer on your desk. Each one is a specialized tool built for a specific kind of problem that traditional computers struggle to solve. The future of computing isn't about building one perfect computer. It's about building the perfect computer for every problem. But these aren't the only ideas scientists are exploring. In the next episode, we'll discover even stranger forms of computing, from analog and probabilistic computing to experimental technologies that could completely redefine what a computer even is. What if computers stopped using electricity altogether? What if probability became the computer? What if physics itself became the processor? If you enjoyed learning something new today, consider leaving a like. It really helps the channel reach more curious minds. Share this video with someone who loves science or technology, and subscribe so you don't miss the next chapter in the Future Computing Explained series. Until next time, stay curious.